Adaptation is the basic idea that is used then to, for instance, if I wrote a story for you, then I then I want to transfer it for you to another person, or in a culture and then in another culture. So the idea is to have you take each object in your story, you abstract from it what its significance is. And then from this abstract level, this can go various levels up high. And then on the top layer you go to the other culture, and then you deduce what it is in the other culture and come back down here, and then you obtain that. And you can also think about it, the flaws, weaknesses of the characters can also go through this. In the adaptation process, you want to make sure that the theme is conveyed, the characters are recognizable and homogeneous, so that your audience can communicate among each other and know that they're talking about the same character, even if they're not in the same culture. And then that the world is compatible in core traits for the same reason. And then the actions are adapted in such a way that their meaning is unchanged. Now, one example, I have an example for that. Okay. An amulet is an exotic piece of jewelry. So an amulet in one story has the significance of being an exotic piece of jewelry, and on one more level, it has the significance of being a recognizable exotic object that an average adult can hold in their hand. But then in the target culture, people hold things with the back of their hand. So therefore the object may need to be modified. So that's one example. The AI here would be able to come up with novel or unexpected results. And I would argue that doesn't mean anything about there being, I don't know, special AI or not. Because, I mean, if you know someone extremely well, you can mostly predict their behavior. It doesn't mean that they got less intelligent the more you got to know them. Also, when we use AI, oftentimes we, take, images or some data and then apply deep learning or things like that to it. But what is required is our knowledge, our model of the world. So the whole thing can be so much more powerful if we really take the time, like business analysis, basically, to analyze everything in our lives and then structure it, and then you can see, oh, here I can use machine learning, there I can use machine learning, and then the whole thing can be automated in a more efficient way. Okay, I think that's about it. And last, this is what it started with. It had to be, I found it not to be adequate to just change things in a protagonist's actions. If you want to remain adequate in that way, which doesn't mean moral, and adequacy doesn't cover morals, but you want to be moral anyway. Okay, the interaction carries originator's intent intactly and thoroughly, and that's the goal of adequacy. If there's a non-story, which I mentioned before, like Pong, for instance, I'm sure you know that game, right? Or the player decides of a character that is conceptually, decides for a character that is conceptually equivalent to their operational personality, which I mentioned before, when it was after the interface of what you are in the game. And then 3, otherwise, you can be adequate if the originator knows the human, or knows, or maybe knows the player very well, like extremely well, and conceive the content form and all interactions so as to communicate the theme to this particular player. Oh, that's about it. Now, some challenges is plot solution finding. You know, how do I? Okay, in order for this plot to work, I need my phone to be broken at scene X, and how do I do that? An AI that figures things out. Subtle nuances in characters for engagement and reminiscibility of the work. And there's sort of something inimitable in the artistic contribution. In the actors, I'm thinking, you know, their eyes. Yeah. How do you replace that? The fractals and inefficiencies against the uncanny. The idea is that fractals and inefficiencies can help. But part rhythms have a fractal pattern, not a fractal pattern. So everything has a fractal pattern. Somebody told me skin reflects light in a fractal manner. So if you can really simulate all of these things, that it may feel more less uncanny. And of course, storage and speed, and then the risk of getting this in the wrong hands. With regard to which I would say we may want to think about standards in player data acquisition format, integration input format of the player data, and then objects, data structures optimized for rendering, scenario updating, and adaptation. And I guess if we do standards in a good way, it may help hinder misuse of this kind of stuff. Thank you.